Ever wondered what it's like out in the villages of Bosnia and Herzegovina? Well, join us today and we'll show you around the village that we've been staying in for the past 2 weeks.
Was it worth it, guys? Was it worth it?
We are Sarah and Marek. In October 2020, we left our home country of South Africa and set out to see the world using budget travel strategies to make our travels last as long as possible. From working on a traditional winery in Georgia, to a sailboat in Turkey, to attempting to hitchhike over 1,800 kilometers in 4 days, our budget travels have by no means been boring or uneventful. We can't wait to see what's next.
We've been staying in a village called Karanovac, which is exactly 11 kilometers outside of the second biggest city in Bosnia and Herzegovina, Banja Luka. We're so excited to show you around this village today, and we even got in touch with a local who showed us a very cool hidden gem. Hint, hint, we're wearing bathing suits under all these layers. This feels so wrong. So stick around to the end of this video to see more on that.
When you jump into Google and you search for things to do in Karanovac, there's not a hell of a lot that comes up. There are a lot of suggestions saying that you should use Karanovac as a base to explore the surrounding areas, but having been here for 2 weeks, we know that there are 2 main things to do here. 3 if you include going to the local pub. Now the first of those things to do, and what we think is actually the best, is where we are right now. We are at the Karanovac Rafting Center, and it's pretty cool because in 2021 they actually acted as a host for the Rafting World Cup. I mean, that's pretty huge for this tiny village. It's the low season right now, which means that they're actually closed. But if you watch our last video, you'll know that this is where we come for our shower.
The second thing there is to do here is hiking. This little village is nestled amongst all these massive mountains around, so you have a pretty big playground to go and explore. Just beware of the bears because we have been warned.
The realities of living in this village is that the road that runs through the village connects Sarajevo to Banja Luka. Oh my goodness.
That truck was so big.
That was so close. So that means that there's a never-ending flow of cars running through the village. And on top of that, there's not really a sidewalk. There's one further down the road that way, but for here, we just kind of walk next to the road with the cars screaming past us.
The village is actually divided into 2 parts by this river right here, which is called the BLOOPS river. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And I'm sure you can notice it's actually in full flow because of this time of year. There's a lot of rain, so it's flowing very strongly. Interesting fact, for that rafting World Cup we mentioned earlier, what they actually did was they dammed up a lot of the water in the river and then released it just before the event to make the river wild and crazy for some really good rafting. And this bridge that we're on right now is actually the only connection between the 2 sides of the village.
Now, in case you're wondering about groceries, so there is one grocery store, and that's the one behind me right here, but it is a proper village grocery store, and they don't even accept cards. So your best bet is actually just to head into Banja Luka. They'll have way more selection. There is another shop just across the river where they do accept card, but they basically only sell beer and motor oil. The essentials really. Let's go have a look inside this one.
Next door to the only grocery store in town is one of the village restaurants. Funny enough, there are 3 restaurants in this village, but only 1 grocery store. What just happened?
Just walk into the restaurant and everybody looks at you and is like, who are you? What are you doing here? Why are you carrying a camera? It just gives you like this stone cold look. But it's okay. We got some Bosnian beer, we got some food.
On the way.
On the way. It's gonna be a good meal. It's a little bit, it's just the first encounter. It's a little bit like, walk tall, you know, walk strong. But the lady inside is very friendly, so it was cool.
What's happening?
I know what's happening. Everybody inside the restaurant is busy staring.
There's the window into the restaurant. So because of the language barrier, we got our food in a takeaway, which is kind of a blessing in disguise because we're really struggling to film around the people in the restaurant. So we're gonna find a spot to sit down and eat this and give you a review on some of the food you can find out in this village.
We got something we've tasted quite a few times already. It's basically the national dish of the country. You can find it literally everywhere. It's something called cevapi. Now, we don't really know the correct way to eat it, and it is a bit more difficult the way that we are eating it now. But honestly, we have eaten this quite a few times already, and you know exactly when you order it what you're going to be getting. You're going to get your piece of bread, you're going to get your little piece of meat, and you're going to enjoy it because it is delicious. Now's about as good a time as any to talk about the locals. So when we first arrived and we went into like the grocery stores and the restaurants, so people were very straight up, you know, you pay for your things and you leave. But now after having been here for a couple of weeks, we go into the same places and you can see the people are like, yeah, we remember these people, and you can just see them becoming a whole lot more friendly and just opening up to us. And like when we walk down the streets, our neighbors now as well, they give us a little bit of a wave, and it's quite cool. So it's just something to be aware of. If you do come to this place and come and visit here, the locals are not necessarily unfriendly. It just takes them a little bit of time to open up to new people.
That cevapi was so good. We never regret getting that. And while I would love to say that we're feeling nice and warm and full, that's not really the truth, because we've been sitting out in the cold on the floor where the cold seeps up through your bum cheeks and the wind was blowing us away. But it is making us so excited for our last stop for the day because we're hoping for some warmth there. We just have to catch the bus to get there.
So the bus stop that we head into right now is the stop that you go to if you want to get into Banja Luka or come back into the village. Now honestly, there's not going to be much talking for the next little part. We are feeling very shy and nervous around the people. So we'll chat to you again when we get there. In case you're wondering, you take bus number 9 and it'll cost you about 2 marks 70 per ride. This place that we're going to now, we've gone past so many times already. We didn't even know that it was here until our local friend actually brought us here and showed us. Just before we go there, we wanted to show you it is currently 4 degrees Celsius. Just think about that.
I can't believe I'm taking my layers off right now. So we've come to natural thermal springs. This place is open 24/7, it's completely free. They've built these really nice bars for you to come and enjoy. And honestly, I have to say, this is the best hidden gem we have ever found.
So the water just seems to be running naturally, and what they've done is actually just like channeled it all off. So there's a pool there and a pool there, there's another pool down there, and there's even more down there as well. It's all so cool.
Something to keep in mind is that it's not a spa. It's not filtered water, it's out in nature, so there is a little bit of dirt and leaves and those kind of things in the water, but it all adds to the experience and it's really nice out here and completely free.
Oh, that was so difficult getting out and getting changed. I actually can't stop shivering. We've got one lonely soldier left in the pool though.
I'm not looking forward to getting out.
It's her turn next.
3, 2, 1. What just happened? Was it worth it, man? Was it worth it? Oh. We're finally back into some dry clothes and slowly starting to warm up again after all that chaos.
So, Karanovac, with a population of just over 1,000 people, it's got a really nice countryside village feel. It just feels like you're out in the wilderness, but also you're so close to the city that it makes it so easy just to pop in, get what you need, and head back out into the countryside again.
We really hope you guys enjoyed coming along with us and seeing what it's like out in the villages of Bosnia and Herzegovina.
But this is actually our last video here. Next we are heading out to Serbia to another Workaway, and we're so excited because we're finally using Workaway to travel again, and it makes us so happy. But thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in the next one. Now when you jump into Google and you search yes, I need some more bass when I start talking. There's not of a hell of a lot. Wow.
Marek?
What am I doing? So we've made a couple. I actually don't know where to go because here it's like blinding. Over here it's decent, but I know it's going to be terrible for the color grade. Just before we show you, just before we go there, I wanted to show you. Oh, never mind.